First, though, people who lost all their belongings in a huge fire at a self-storage warehouse in Croydon in London on New Year's Eve have exclusively told this programme they believe they were misled by the firm. The facility was completely destroyed by the blaze on New Year's Eve. There were 1,200 units and they were being used by customers to store personal items, furniture and business stock their entire life, one customer told us. We've heard about people losing sentimental items belonging to dead relatives, life savings being lost, and even the ashes of someone's brother. Crucially, customers have told us the Shurgard website promises to keep the belongings of loved ones safe after they have died. Yet the small print appears to contradict that, stating that the customer is forbidden from storing objects with an emotional or special value. In a moment, we'll talk to the company's Vice President of Operations and the Labour MP for the area. First, let's speak to Rachel Gould, who lost almost everything in the fire, including heirlooms from her recently deceased grandmother. And Mark Brewer, who lost £180,000 worth of stock from his beauty business. What did you have stored in that warehouse?
I sold my property in the summer, my house in South Norwood in Croydon, and I hadn't found anywhere else to buy, so I put everything, all my belongings. I had 2 units at the Shurgard storage centre on Purley Way. I moved in with a friend temporarily, so all I took was 2 bags of clothes and my laptop with me, and I put the entire contents of my house in that storage unit. So that was all my furniture, most of my clothes, all of my books, records, CDs, hundreds of items, 2 crates full of photos, probably in excess of 2,000 photos, my entire life, all my memories, all my cards and letters from my family, from my parents, everything I've collected, you know, memorabilia from concerts, all my Crystal Palace FC stuff from, you know, that I've collected since I was a little kid, everything was in there, and it's all gone.
How do you feel about that?
I'm still in shock. I feel devastated. And I feel like a huge part of my personal identity has disappeared. You know, huge parts of my family history have just gone. And I just can't believe it. And you say parts of your family history, that includes the possessions, the things that were left to you by your grandma. Yeah, so I had, my grandmother died in September this year. And I had lots of beautiful letters from her that she'd wrote me when I was 18 about becoming an adult. I had jewellery from her. From my great-grandmother, I had a beautiful painting, and I had pieces of her furniture, and they've all gone. I wanted to keep those things forever and pass them on to my children and to my family. Mark, you had 4 units at the self-storage facility. 1 was a personal one, and then you had 3 for business stock. Tell our audience what you have lost.
I've lost £180,000 worth of stock. I've started my business from scratch. I've been a Shurgard customer for 4 years, and the business has grown over time, and the amount of space that I've rented from Shurgard has grown over time. So I've lost that stock. The business operationally has stopped this month because I don't have anything to send out for the orders that we have. From a personal point of view, I had in my personal unit on the 3rd floor, I had our wedding suits, my dead mother's handbag, just personal items, and that were of sentimental value to me.
Why did you store items of sentimental value there?
Because we thought they were safe. You know, the company promotes themselves as being a safe and secure place to store your belongings, and across their marketing material, they say entrust us with your most personal possessions. You know, there's on their website, they have a blog where they talk about different things you can store there, like your heirlooms, like your own personal artwork, like your CD and record collection, like your photo albums, how to store your photo albums properly. So we entrusted them with our property that we thought was going to be safe there.
And for me, you know, as my business has grown, I've been looking for premises that are as secure as a Shurgard unit, and I hadn't actually found anywhere.
And I think, that's a good point. I would say, you know, I was looking for a secure unit. That unit is the biggest storage unit I've ever seen, you know, anywhere. And I thought, if anywhere, it's going to be safe. Even if there is a small fire or something happens, an incident, the size of it means that would mitigate the risk of that. And that hasn't been the case.
Do you feel misled by the company then?
100%, yeah.
Yes.
Why?
Well, because I feel like...
What they're marketing on one hand isn't what they're saying on their terms and conditions.
Yeah.
So that, to me, is misleading.
Yeah, and I feel like the building in its design, inherently in its design, it wasn't fit for purpose for dealing with a fire, that even that was a contained fire, that it wasn't able to stop that fire spreading. So for a start, the units, they're made from very thin steel box, and the walls do not go up to the ceiling. There's a cavity above them. You've got a long line of units there, and they're stacked to the rafters, full of very flammable objects. You know.
And that design you've only obviously discovered since this.
Well, yeah, I've discovered that if they all go up in flames, the oxygen is going to pull the flames up and take it into the next unit, so the fire is going to spread a lot quicker. And there are no sprinklers in the building. There certainly weren't any sprinklers on my floor that would.
I actually went to the site at 8 p.m. that evening.
The night of the fire.
The night of the fire, and I could see the smoke coming out from either the second or the third floor. I mean, I'm still, wondering how it got so out of hand over that amount of time, or why the London Fire Brigade couldn't contain that fire.
I'm going to ask you what the company's offered you in a moment. I want to bring in Duncan Bell from the company, Vice President of Operations for Shurgard. Has your company misled these customers?
Well, if we look at the website, it does indeed say that we will store items from the home of a bereaved relative, from a relative who's died.
So yes.
So it does say that, but it doesn't mention on the website about the sentimental items. And in the terms and conditions, which it does mention there that we ask customers not to store items of sentimental or emotional value.
So what do you think the possessions of a dead relative are, if not sentimental and emotional value?
The contents of a home could include things such as the white goods, the furniture. So there's a whole variety of different items that could come from the home of a dead relative.
Come on,
But I do understand. That.
Sorry, Mark just asked you. Do you truly
believe what you're saying? There's a grey area here, clearly.
But it's an area that we will certainly look at, and if we think that it's misleading, then we'll undoubtedly change it. I mean,
do you think it could be misleading?
Well, if people are interpreting it in a different way to how it was meant to be on our website, then certainly we will look at it and change it. We don't want to mislead people. There's no value in us misleading people in our business. So we will certainly look at what's come out of it, what is viewed as misleading, and we will certainly look at changing it.
Did any member of staff, when you signed your contract, when you were having a tour of the building, when you were considering taking up these units, renting these units, point out the small print, the terms and conditions, which says do not store hazardous materials, perishables, anything stolen or illegal, and strictly forbidden from storing objects with an emotional or special value?
No, so that was never communicated either verbally or in writing. You are given you're given a one-page sheet of housekeeping rules, and the only thing it says on there that you're not allowed to store are items of perishable value. That are perishable. There is nothing there that says you cannot store personal or irreplaceable objects.
Why not?
On the housekeeping sheet referred to here is a separate sheet to the contract, and on the contract on the front page there is a list of items to do with the terms and conditions.
And why not on the housekeeping sheet, just out of interest?
Because that's a separate document. That's
could easily be on there. It says don't store perishables, so why not?
But there's also there is quite a long list of items that we would ask customers not to store. So the contract that's signed, it also includes a range of those items and also confirms that the customer has read the terms and conditions.
So it doesn't say it on the website, don't store personal items of emotional significance. It doesn't say it on the housekeeping sheet, but it says it in tiny small print in many paragraphs of terms and conditions. Do you think that's fair? Do you think that's transparent?
But the terms and conditions are on the website. It's not just when you take out a unit you get the terms and conditions. They are accessible on the website. So as I said, it's clearly something that we will look at, and if
which is obviously no consolation to Rachel and Mark, the fact that you might look at this in the future.
No, and of course I would like to apologise, and we've apologised by email, on the phone. We've been contacting all of our customers individually to speak to them individually, to offer our apologies and to see what we can do to help. And I welcome the chance to apologise here as well in person, because we understand.
Can I pause that? Do you accept that apology?
No, I don't accept that apology.
Do you accept that apology?
I don't accept that apology at this moment. No.
Okay. We we felt that as soon as it became very clear, very quickly, the extent of this incident, that we would prefer to speak to customers individually. So we put in place a call team starting on the 2nd of Jan to contact every single customer individually, and we did that within 3 days.
And what have you been offered? What have you been offered?
I mean, all I've been offered is the insurance level that I've taken out with Shurgard. So over 2 units, it's £2,000 per unit.
What about yourself?
As a big customer to Shurgard, I haven't been actually offered anything. I've been directed to the insurance company that are dealing with the insurance claims.
I mean, you will know that people who took out your insurance, they're insured apparently for up to £2,000, as Rachel says, but people had stuff in those units worth much more than that. So what are you going to do for those people?
The insurance policy, the level of cover is dependent on the value of the goods that was given to us by the customer. So there isn't an insurance policy that is only up to £2,000. It can go much higher than that, depending on the value of the goods that we're told by the customer. So it's based on the
maximum insurance on my business units at £14,999, which I could have taken out there and then when I hired those units, of which I did. Mm-hmm. Obviously, as my business has grown at a rapid rate, you know, within that unit, that was the maximum I could take out at that point when I signed those units.
Insurance is flexible, and it can be moved up and down according to what's being kept in the unit, because of course customers decide what they keep and what they don't keep in their units, and that can change. £15,000 is the upper level that we can offer through the stores. However, direct contact with our insurance company, and they can provide a bespoke cover for additional value. Or customers can take insurance with another provider. They're not obliged to take our insurance.
Sure.
So
but at the time of hiring a unit, you have to take out insurance.
Yes.
Or show insurance.
Yeah. You have to take out insurance, and if you decide to take it with somebody else, then we refund the insurance premium that you've paid to us within 14 days when you show us the evidence of your insurance cover.
Were there any security on that night?
We don't have security on overnight, any night. No, the building is secured by an access control system, which is
Because again, your website says, staff on site. We have highly trained staff to all our locations who can spot and react to any suspicious behaviour.
Sure.
That's not true.
The staff are there during staff office hours, which is 9 till 6, Monday to Friday. And then
again, you have not made that clear.
But the staff are not there 24 hours.
No, but you haven't made that clear.
Access is from 6 a.m. in the morning till 11
I'm not talking
p.m.
about
at night.
access. I'm talking about staff on site who you say can spot and react to any suspicious behaviour, except not on New Year's Eve when a fire was started.
Our office hours are published on our website, and that's when we have staff on site.
Not made clear in that sentence, though, you'd accept.
We've never had staff 24 hours, and we've been running in the country now for almost 20 years, and so that's our standard way of working, 9 till 6 office hours, staff on site, and the rest of the time...
Did you think it was staff on site for office hours?
I wasn't sure, 100% sure, to be honest, but I mean, I just think when you have got a unit of that size, 5 floors high, packed with millions and millions of pounds worth of people's stock for their businesses and personal possessions, why on earth you cannot afford to have 24-hour security with the amount of money that we're paying you in our fees alone to be looking after that property. You know, the couple of salaries, or 2, 3, 4 salaries for a security team is nothing compared to what we're paying you every month.
Steve Reed, you are the Labour MP for Croydon North. What concerns do you have about the design of the facility?
Well, I mean, we just heard from Rachel and Mark. They put their possessions, their business goods in this place, and they expected them to be kept safe. But not only was the design of the building not constructed to contain fire, it sounds like it was constructed to facilitate the spread of fire. The fact that the walls didn't go up to the top of every unit allows the flames to spread from one unit to another. The fact that you have no idea what was in each of these units, it could have been flammable materials, it could have been drums of oil, for all people know, that means that the whole thing could have gone up. So there were no sprinklers in place, so that if a fire started, it could be put out quickly. It sounds to me that these people have been sold these services on the basis that this facility was safe and secure, but actually no measures have been put in to make sure that a fire like this couldn't get out of control rapidly, which is exactly what we saw on New Year's Eve.
It's very important to stress that the building, in keeping with all of Shurgard's buildings in the UK, fully comply with all building and fire regulations. So the building...
Well, we saw Grenfell not that long ago. We know there are problems with the fire regs. I think you need to be going above and beyond the bare minimum, to be honest. These people believe, Rachel's whole life was put in that unit. Mark's whole business was put in that unit. It's all gone because you didn't provide the level of security and assurance from fire that they were led to believe they were paying for when they put their things in your facility.
Do you really understand the gravity of what's happened?
We do. We do. We have. There are, unfortunately, a number of cases where people have been really seriously hit sentimentally, but also in terms of value. So yes, we do genuinely understand.
And what responsibility do you accept for what's happened?
Well, we run a business and we run a site which, as I said to you before, is fully compliant with all building and fire regulations.
So what responsibility do you accept for what's happened?
We will work with each individual, and we've been in contact with everybody personally since the incident, to work with them as to what we can conclude.
So is that no responsibility or full responsibility?
Of course, we are responsible for putting in place a functioning self-storage site, which is what we did according to all the regulations that we are obliged to comply with. Nobody envisaged that this was going to happen, and we're responding in the best and the quickest way that we possibly can. But it's very important to understand that everything to do with that site was fully compliant and was regularly checked. Maintenance was completely up to date. We have a very well-functioning repair and maintenance program, which meant that store was completely and fully compliant with all regulations.
Okay. Thank you, all of you, for talking to us this morning. Thank you. We will see what happens, and we'll keep following your stories, obviously. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the programme. Thank you. And Marie has emailed to say that she'd had to move out of her house where she'd lived for 27 years, and she stored all her stuff in 5 units at this self-storage facility in Croydon. I learned through email on the 2nd of January that this disaster had taken place, and my 27 years of sentiments is no more. Due to ill health and additional stress, it's only today I pick up my phone to contact Shurgard Storage Company, but it's shocking that they haven't set up a dedicated direct telephone helpline for those of us who are going through this traumatic situation. I was unable to talk to anybody who can help me with matters relating to moving forwards. If you were affected, do let us know this morning. Send us an email, victoria@bbc.co.uk, and let us know how you think the company have dealt with it. Also still to come before 11, it was a really good night for British talent at the Golden Globes last night. Olivia Colman